In today's video, we're going to look at our predictions for the renewables market in 2026. So over the last few years, we have worked with over 100 renewables installers, ranging from solar, heat pump, and on the eco scheme as well. We'll go through what we see coming up in 2026 and how installers can be best prepared to take advantage of all the opportunities and prepare for all the change coming as well. In this video, we'll look at a few predictions from our team for the renewables industry in 2026. So obviously none of these are factual, these are all just what we see happening in the market over the coming year. First thing that a lot of people have discussed is obviously with the end of the eco scheme, there will be a lot of installers moving from grant funded work into the private market. This might change if there is a replacement scheme that comes into place soon, but at the time of recording, that's not the case. So you'd imagine there'll be a large influx of installers who had previously just focused on eco work, now moving into installing solar and heat pumps privately. This will inevitably drive up competition, lead costs, and also potentially push installation prices down, as a lot of these eco companies don't have the brand and don't have the presence in the private market they do in the eco market, so they will need to compete and win jobs on price. For those installers who don't want to compete on price, they want to charge premium prices even with an increased competition, it's important their unique selling points become crystal clear, and this will be absolutely essential. Those who can clearly articulate why they should be chosen, why they can charge premium prices, will do well in 2026. For those installers who will struggle with competition, struggle to differentiate, will be affected quite heavily by the influx of eco installers into the private market. The second prediction is that trust between the installer and the customer will become even more important. In an era of things like AI generated content and people skeptical about social media, trust has become very, very scarce. A lot of people don't trust adverts they see. They are very skeptical when they sign up to things. So it's really important that installers in 2026 make a big conscious effort to build trust. That is through things like social proof, online reviews on Trustpilot, Google, customer case studies, that sort of thing. Organic presence, having a nice looking website, active socials, showing the personality behind your team, visual storytelling, videos of actual installs, staff, behind the scenes content, all that sort of stuff, as well as actually just being engaging with customers on social media, replying to comments, showing it's a real person. All of these elements will become really important for installers in 2026, particularly with the increased competition that I mentioned just a second. Third prediction is that customers will become ever more educated on the technical side of installations. This is something that we are noticing with the leads that our telesales team call, is that customers are increasingly clued up on things like what system they want, what brand they want. They ask more insightful questions, and they can only see this continuing as the government pushes renewables more. Gone are the days where people just want to know how much they can save or how much it costs. A lot of prospects now want to get into the technical aspect, and they want an installer who can have that discussion with them. So the installers that embrace this, who upskill their staff, who make time for customer questions, they will win these jobs because they can demonstrate their expertise, whereas the installers that can't explain this as well or can't compete on product knowledge or technical expertise will struggle to convert these customers like they have done previously. The next prediction is that the installers who invest in systems and operations will create an increasing gap from those who don't. Those who make a conscious effort to evolve from doing it all themselves and seeing themselves as a tradesman rather than a businessman will struggle, whereas the installers that invest in staff, in automation, in all that side of things, that essentially will drive the business forward but aren't directly related to things like quoting customers or doing installs, they are the ones that will grow quickest over the long term. So some examples of this are investing in AI, whether that's through chatbots, AI voice agents, anything like that. Those installers who are the early adopters will gain a massive advantage. Those who invest in top team culture, they invest in upskilling their staff, training, creating clear processes, all of these things that take them out of the day-to-day. Again, they will become increasingly clear and increasingly grow compared to installers that don't do that. Content creation is another example. Those installers that invest heavily in creating content of their installs, of their office team, educating customers, all of these behind the scenes footage, again, those that can do that and operate that within their business will have a massive advantage. The final thing is having excellent service from the day of the installation, the customer service afterwards, beforehand, every touch point through their team and not just the business owner is dealt with extreme professionalism. So the next prediction is that installers who invest in their operations and processes processes will have a massive advantage in 2026. Those who invest in ways to take themselves out of the day-to-day, that's automating tasks, delegating tasks, making things run smoother, will grow a lot quicker and become a lot more noticeable than the installers who don't. Some examples of this are those investing in automation and AI tools, things that will speed up customer communication, manual tasks, anything like that have a massive advantage. Those investing in upskilling their team, so there might be training days, might be clearer processes, systems that allow the team to take more responsibility and the owner to remove themselves from the day-to-day. Another example that links to some of my previous points is content creation. Those companies have a slick process for creating content across all of their social media, creating videos, batching that content. Again, will have a massive advantage in terms of winning the organic traffic and building more trust with their customers. Next prediction is that a lot of the installers that transition from eco into the private market will face a massive struggle. It's obviously a very different market to what eco was, with different challenges and different complexities. The mindset of working on a government funded scheme is very different from doing private installs. The private market, obviously there's things like sales, which isn't as prevalent in the funded market, pricing and genuine customer relationship skills. Those who sort of cling on to the old government funded or government program mindset, who don't change that as they move into the private installation market, invest in sales processes, work out their pricing, they're going to really struggle to beat off the established competition in this sector. And I think a lot of these companies that jump into the private market will struggle a lot more than they think to actually make that transition smooth and easy as they think it will be. Final prediction is related to the government funded sector, so specifically the Warm Homes Plan. Again, at the time of recording this, there's been no concrete information about start date or what it would entail. My thoughts are for the small and medium sized installers, it'll be a lot more focused on solar and heat pump. There's been a lot of bad publicity around things like EWI within Eco4. I think the funding for those small and medium businesses will mainly be focused on loft insulation, heat pumps and solar. Then the more technical installations, so things like EWI, that will be reserved to go through the council, and that will be very strictly monitored and likely go through the bigger, more established installers. Second thing is that I think the government will open up the eligibility criteria. In eco, it was like finding a needle in a haystack to get a qualifying property. I think under the Warm Homes Plan, it'll be a lot more accessible. But that means there'll be less emphasis on lead generation and there'll be more emphasis on lead management. So you have a lot more eligible properties. It's more about how can you handle them, get them installed, make sure customers are dealt with, rather than who can actually find the leads that do exist for eco. Third thing is that will be a lot more focused on quality over quantity. So in eco, you had these pop-up installers who could within a year really scale to upwards of 50, 100 jobs a month with no issue. I think that'll be a lot harder under the new scheme. I think there'll be a lot stricter regulations and it'll be a lot more focused on quality jobs rather than quantity, which we've seen in eco. Being able to manage the compliance and win those jobs will be a lot more prevalent than it was under eco 4. In terms of what's imperative for 2026, there's some key things that a lot of installers have to do, particularly those that are transitioning from government schemes into private schemes. First thing is to define your unique selling points. Is that your social proof, how long you've been in business, your finance options, your price, whatever it is in a ever increasing market, you need to have something that makes you as a company stand out. Second would be to build your trust assets like reviews, case studies, your website. Anything that will make a customer trust you is paramount in 2026. So it's important that you're investing in content, investing in reviews and getting that side of things sorted out. Third thing would be to make sure your team have the technical expertise required so they can actually talk through specific systems, products, with customers. As I mentioned, customers are becoming ever more educated on heat pumps and solar panels. Fourth thing would be to prioritize investing in systems and operations, whether that's AI, basic automations, systems for your staff to follow. It will allow business owners to remove themselves from the day-to-day of running the business and spend more time on things like creating content, working new offers, whatever it might be. And then the fifth thing, specifically for those installers looking to a large volume of installs, would be to prepare for lead management. Be prepared for calling staff, the systems behind that, customer service, and everything that might come with a lot more properties being eligible under the Warm Homes Plan. Or even if you are just a solar and heat pump installer in the private market, if there is more funding towards that through various schemes, being prepared to take advantage of the increased leads and demand that will be available. So all of this means that by 2027, the market will be even more divided than it is now between those thriving businesses who are scaling fast and those who are struggling. Those winners will share some of the characteristics that I just run through. They'll have very strong brands which they invest heavily into. They will invest heavily into their trust assets, assets. Their business will run without the business owner, and they'll still be able to charge premium prices because of all these things. So if you are an installer who is looking to scale and grow in 2026 and you're struggling with potentially lead generation, marketing, sales, whatever it might be, the likelihood is we can definitely help with that. We've worked over 100 installers, some of the biggest names in the industry, and we've learned a lot from them in terms of what they do that makes them stay ahead of the competition. Feel free to book in a call. There'll be a link somewhere around this video. You can find out a little bit more about what we do here at BLC, how we can help out, and how we can help you stay ahead of the competition if 2026 does become increasingly competitive.